Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to our channel, and thanks for logging on. Today, we're discussing the FP Journe Chronometre Resonance Black Label. You can see this FP Journe owner exclusive and purchase it on our website, where you don't need to be a previous FP Journe owner to get your hand on this black label. Subscribe to our YouTube channel if you enjoy these videos, and click on the card in the upper right hand corner of the screen at any time during this video to see this FP Journe Chronometre Resonance Black Label, along with additional photographs of the watch in high resolution, accessories included in the sale, and full pricing details for this and our entire collection of FP Journe timepieces. Now, I mentioned that this is an owner exclusive, and indeed, from late 2008, the FP Journe Black Label collection has been exclusive to FP Journe boutiques for FP Journe owners. Now, FP Journe boutiques provide no more than 2 examples of each model that are produced in Black Label series per year. So no boutique, and there are currently 9 in the world, is allowed to make, for instance, an order for more than 2 Resonance or 2 Sontograph or 2 Octa UTC. It has to be just 2 per model per boutique, and you must own a Journe to order the Black Label. So you have both a boutique exclusive and an owner exclusive. This one, pre-owned, can be sent to your home today. A timepiece 40 millimeters across the round of the case in platinum. Journe watches wear a bit larger than their nominal size because you can see the sandwich structure of the bezel, caseback, and mid-case creates a little bit of an overlap. There's a bit of an overbite from the caseback and the bezel that flares on both sides beyond the center case, turning the 40 into a 41. The watch is still slim, however, as this timepiece measures a svelte 9 millimeters thick with a generously rounded bezel that lets it tuck easily under a dress cuff. From lug to lug, the watch is 48.2 millimeters, so it has good wrist presence, but it's not oversized. The timepiece is hefty, all in platinum with a rose gold movement. You know something special is on the wrist, even eyes closed. That said, because of the generously downturned lugs, which turn pretty much 90 degrees relative to the case band, it will wear well on a smaller wrist. I believe you can wear this watch on a 14 centimeter circumference wrist with absolute security and a good appearance of proportion. Now, there's one feature I want to call out. The timepiece here is clearly of the Black Label and clearly of the first generation Resonance. Now, after 2004, they had rose gold movements. In 2008, the Black Label debuted, and 2009 was the last year for this symmetrical dial Resonance, which is to say, this watch was made in 2008 or 2009, and it is a rare commodity for that fact. There are not many, again, given that the boutiques can only order 2 examples of each model per boutique per year. The fact that this watch was made between 2008 and 2009 based on its feature set, the Black Label status, and the Gen 1 dial, means it is an extreme rarity in the current world of collectible FP Journe. You'll even note that the watch has the older style Journe strap, not gator on both sides, but calfskin supple on one with alligator on the top, and no pull tab spring bars. You can see it has semi-curved bars to trace the arc of the case, creating an integrated look, but the absence of the cutout for the pull tab spring bars and the gator on the underside to match the top makes the strap itself something of a discontinued collectible, as this is a Journe signed factory strap of a discontinued design. Now, the watch features a simple pin buckle, platinum, in high polish for easy adjustments, but the collectability of this one runneth over. Now, it's handsome, all in high polish. It doesn't seem garish because it's slim. It has a handsome athletic posture on the wrist, a nice stance without appearing unwieldy or bulbous. The overbite of the bezel and the caseback also adds a little bit of nuance to the caseband, visually separating the 3 components, bezel, caseback, and center case, to slim down the overall aesthetic. The dial features the characteristic black persona, the visage that creates the appearance that the dials themselves within the greater dial are almost floating like islands. The tonal contrast is outstanding. Now, you can see the polished bezels with the visible dial side screws, both within and without the time displays on the dial. This was something that FP Journe pioneered in the late 90s. Highly controversial at the time, almost universally copied today. It was highly influential. Now, you'll note the pattern of the twin symmetrical dials, hours, minutes, and seconds. The watch is a dual time, but it's a dual time second and a resonance first, and we'll get into what that means. Using the crown at 12 o'clock, in what would conventionally be 12 o'clock on the dial, you wind both mainspring barrels, and you set both individual time displays. Now it has backward power reserve, which means that signature Journe-style tapered biomorphic hand actually moves to 0 when the watch is fully wound, so it represents the hours since you fully wound the watch. That's why it moves backward. Now let's say you've set your 2 time zones. Again, the crown at 12 sets both independently. You can have 2 times displayed, and it takes about 10 minutes for the resonance effect. That is, the constructive and symbiotic interaction of the two to create a sort of syncopated in-step beat that creates self-canceling. So if one runs fast, the other will slow it down. If one runs slow, the other will help to speed it up. And thus, eventually, they will operate in lockstep. But because it takes about 10 minutes for this to completely develop once the watch starts, it may be out of sync. That is, it may not be displaying synchronized seconds once resonance is actually occurring. And therefore, you have the adjuster that you pull. And don't worry, that's on there specifically, so clods like me don't damage it. You can see that now you have resonance taking purchase on the watch, and the same displayed on the dial side, and those seconds will remain beautifully aligned however long you leave the watch running. I've never seen any tangible deviation even after these have been repeatedly wound and operated for days on end. Now turning it all over, you can see the 18-karat movement, beautifully executed. This is caliber 1499, so 14 French lean in size, and production planning began in 1999. Of course, FP Journe naming his movements according to the size in lean, so 14 and 99, the year that work started. But this is the post-2004 aesthetic, slightly different barrel bridges and plates in 18-karat rose gold. Previously, they had been brass coated with rhodium. Gorgeous, handsome execution of several finishes. As you'll see, there's a linear Côte de Genève across the bridges, and then there is engine turning across the base plate, and you'll also note the gleam of a beautiful mirrored anglage across the edges of the bridges themselves with the same treatment for the jewel countersinks. Now you'll also note that there's some hardware here that you don't typically see on a normal watch. It has a 40-hour power reserve when fully wound, and you can see the pivot jewels for the 2 mainspring barrels, powering the 2 separate drivetrains, terminating in separate escapements. You can see the escape wheels on both sides, and separate balances, both free sprung for precise regulation and vibration and shock resistance. It's at center that this really deviates from any other movement you're going to see. There is a little sort of rack and pinion arrangement. As you can see, a curved rack and toothed mounted on the balance cock off to the right, and then at center you can see that there's a screw that's a different color from the cock holding it. That actually features the pinion underneath, and you turn that screw to move that balance cock and that balance in and out so that you can get the precise distance, not too close and not too far, to achieve the resonance for which the watch is named. Again, just having 2 balances in a watch does not achieve resonance. There has to be a proper architecture, and then a fine-tuning has to take place afterward. You'll note that all of the screw heads are black polished. You'll also note that the cover of the rack used for adjusting and the cock holding the pinion are black polished, turning black as I move them with respect to the camera. They are optically smooth to the highest specular standard, and they only reflect light in one direction. The oscillation rate for each of the balances is 21,600 vibrations per hour. You can see this handsome and exclusive, and yes, discontinued Resonance 1 Black Label on our website.